How to free yourself from negative emotions. The path to harmony, according to Buddhist principles. Greetings to all seekers of wisdom and peace. On this channel, we explore the depths of self-development and psychology through the prism of Buddhist philosophy. Today, we will dive into perhaps the most pressing and complex topic for a modern person: how to free ourselves from negative emotions. Who among us has not encountered anger, irritation, envy, fear, or resentment? These feelings, like heavy chains, fetter our consciousness, darken the joy of life, and prevent us from being happy. But there is good news. Buddhism, with its 1,000-year history and profound wisdom, offers us specific tools and practices that allow us not only to suppress negative emotions, but to transform them, turning poison into medicine and darkness into light. In this video, we will analyze 5 key steps to freeing ourselves from negative emotions, based on the principles of Buddhist philosophy. We will not only talk about theory, but also look at specific examples from real life, analyze effective practices and meditations that you can use today. Together, we will pave the way to inner peace and harmony, which are so necessary for each of us in this rapidly changing world. In this video, you will learn how to recognize negative emotions at an early stage and prevent them from growing. How to use mindfulness to observe your emotions without judgment. How to work with anger, fear, envy, and other destructive feelings using Buddhist methods. How to develop compassion and love for yourself and others to reduce the impact of negative emotions. How to integrate Buddhist principles into your daily life to achieve sustainable emotional well-being. Get ready for a deep journey inside yourself. Liberation from negative emotions is not magic, but the result of conscious work on yourself. And I am sure that together we can make this path easier and more effective. If you are ready to begin your journey to emotional freedom, leave a comment below this video with the word "ready." This will become your personal declaration of intent to change your life for the better. Part 1. The nature of negative emotions and their effects. Recognizing the enemy. Before you fight the enemy, you must recognize it. And the first step to liberating yourself from negative emotions is to understand their nature and effects. In Buddhist philosophy, negative emotions are seen as manifestations of the 3 poisons: ignorance, attachment, and aversion. Ignorance, moha. This is the root of all suffering. Ignorance is our misunderstanding of the true nature of reality, our own nature, and the interconnectedness of all things. It manifests itself in delusions, illusions, and misconceptions about the world. For example, we may think that owning certain things will make us happy, or that our worth depends on the opinions of others. These delusions lead to frustration and suffering. Attachment, raga. This is the craving, desire, and urge to hold on to what we like. Attachment can come in many forms: to material things, to people, to ideas, to the self. The problem is that everything in this world is impermanent. Everything changes, everything passes. And when we cling to something that will inevitably disappear, we doom ourselves to suffering. Imagine a person who is fanatically in love with his job and devotes all his time to it. When he loses his job, his world collapses because his happiness was based on something external and impermanent. Aversion, dvesha. This is anger, hatred, fear, and all other negative reactions to what we dislike. Aversion is an attempt to push away what we find undesirable. But the more we resist, the stronger it becomes. For example, if we are afraid of public speaking, we may avoid it at all costs. But this only increases our fear. These three poisons, ignorance, attachment, and aversion, give rise to all other negative emotions: anger, envy, pride, laziness, doubt, and so on. They poison our consciousness and prevent us from seeing the world as it really is. Impact of negative emotions. Negative emotions have a destructive effect on all aspects of our lives. Physical health. Chronic stress caused by negative emotions can lead to various diseases, such as cardiovascular disease, digestive problems, weakened immunity, and even cancer. Anger, for example, can cause high blood pressure and heart palpitations. Mental health. Negative emotions can lead to depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and other mental disorders. Constant feelings of guilt and shame can destroy self-esteem and lead to a feeling of hopelessness. Interpersonal relationships. Anger, irritation, and envy can ruin our relationships with loved ones. Negative emotions make us selfish, impatient, and critical. It is difficult to build healthy and harmonious relationships when we are overwhelmed by negative feelings. Decision-making. Negative emotions cloud our judgment and prevent us from making rational decisions. Anger can make us say and do things we later regret. Fear can paralyze us and prevent us from acting in our best interests. Real-life example. Imagine a person who works in a large corporation. He feels constant pressure from his superiors, is jealous of his colleagues' successes, and is afraid of losing his job. These negative emotions cause him to become irritable, withdrawn, and unhappy. He begins to lash out at his loved ones, his health deteriorates, and he loses interest in life. Eventually, he burns out and is unable to do his job. This example shows how negative emotions can ruin a person's life. But this is not a death sentence. Buddhism offers us tools that help us recognize and transform these emotions. Practical exercise. Keep a journal of your emotions for a week. Every time you experience a negative emotion, write down, what did you feel? Anger, fear, jealousy, sadness, etc. What thoughts did you have at that moment? What sensations did you experience in your body? What was the trigger for that emotion? This journal will help you become aware of your emotional patterns and understand what situations cause you to feel negative emotions. This is the first step to change. Part 2. Mindfulness. Observing emotions without judgment. Knowing the enemy. Now that we understand the nature and impact of negative emotions, we need to learn to recognize them and observe them without judgment. The practice of mindfulness will help us with this. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a state of mental presence when we are fully focused on the present moment, without judging or judging it. It is the ability to observe our thoughts, feelings, and body sensations without getting caught up in them or being overwhelmed by them. In Buddhism, mindfulness is one of the key elements of the Eightfold Path to Enlightenment. It helps us develop wisdom and compassion, freeing us from suffering. How to practice mindfulness. There are many ways to practice mindfulness. Here are some. Mindfulness meditation. This is a practice in which we focus our attention on our breath, sensations in our body, or sounds around us. When our attention wanders, we gently bring it back to the object of focus. Mindfulness meditation helps us calm the mind, develop concentration, and learn to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. Mindful breathing. Throughout the day, pause and take a few deep breaths, focusing on the sensations in your body. Notice the air moving in and out of your lungs. This simple exercise will help you come back to the present moment and calm your mind. Mindful walking. Focus on the sensations in your feet as you walk. Notice how your feet touch the ground. Notice the movements of your arms and body. Mindful walking will help you relieve stress and tension. Mindful eating. Eat slowly and mindfully, focusing on the taste, smell, and texture of your food. Notice how your body reacts to the food. Mindful eating will help you avoid overeating and enjoy your food to the fullest. Mindfulness in everyday life. Try to bring mindfulness into everything you do. When you wash the dishes, focus on the sensations of the water and soap on your hands. When you talk to someone, listen carefully without interrupting or thinking about what you will say next. How does mindfulness help in working with negative emotions? Mindfulness allows us to observe our negative emotions without judgment or involvement. When we feel anger, fear, or jealousy, we can simply notice the feeling, like watching a cloud pass across the sky. We don't try to suppress it or get rid of it. We just allow it to be there. When we observe our emotions without judgment, they lose their power. We realize that we are not our emotions. Emotions are just temporary states that come and go. Mindfulness gives us the opportunity to pause between stimulus and response. We can choose how we want to respond to a situation rather than reacting automatically under the influence of negative emotions. Real-life example. Imagine a woman who receives a critical remark from her boss. Instead of immediately becoming angry and hurt, she takes a deep breath and focuses on how her body feels. She notices how her heart starts to beat faster, how her palms start to sweat. She simply observes these sensations without judging them. After a few minutes, her anger begins to subside. She realizes that her boss's criticism is not a personal insult, but simply feedback that she can use to improve her performance. Her job. She calmly discusses his comments with her boss and offers her own solutions. This example shows how mindfulness can help us cope with difficult situations and avoid negative reactions. Practical exercise. Throughout the day, stop and practice rain several times.
Recognize. Recognize what emotion is present. Name it silently, e.g., anger, fear, sadness. Allow. Allow the emotion to be there. Don't resist it or try to suppress it. I. Investigate. Explore your body sensations. Where do you feel this emotion? What sensations do you experience? N. Non-identification. Don't identify with the emotion. Remember that you are not your emotions. Emotions are just temporary states that come and go. This practice will help you develop mindfulness and learn to observe your emotions without judgment. Part 3. Transforming negative emotions, turning an enemy into an ally. Mindfulness is the first step, but not the last. Once we have learned to observe our negative emotions, we need to learn to transform them. In Buddhism, there are various methods for transforming negative emotions based on the principles of wisdom and compassion. 1. Working with anger. Anger is a powerful and destructive emotion that can lead to violence and the destruction of relationships. In Buddhism, anger is seen as a manifestation of ignorance and disgust. To transform anger, you need to become aware of your anger. When you feel anger, do not suppress it, but acknowledge its presence. Notice the sensations in the body that accompany anger. Increased heart rate, muscle tension, redness in the face. Understand the cause of anger. Ask yourself why you are angry. What triggered your anger? Often, anger is a secondary emotion, hiding fear, pain, or frustration. Develop patience. Patience is the opposite of anger. It helps us stay calm in difficult situations. Develop patience by practicing meditation, contemplating nature, or helping other people. Practice compassion. Try to understand the other person's point of view. Remember that everyone suffers and makes mistakes. Develop compassion for yourself and others. Use antidotes. When you feel angry, use antidotes such as deep breathing, exercise, taking a walk in the fresh air, or listening to calming music. 2. Deal with fear. Fear is a natural emotion that helps us avoid danger. But when fear becomes excessive and irrational, it can paralyze us and prevent us from living a full life. In Buddhism, fear is seen as a manifestation of ignorance and aversion. To transform fear, you need to become aware of your fear. When you feel fear, do not avoid it, but acknowledge its presence. Notice the sensations in your body that accompany fear. Increased heart rate, trembling, sweating. Understand the cause of your fear. Ask yourself, what exactly are you afraid of? Is the danger real? Often our fears are based on irrational thoughts and beliefs. Challenge your fears. Gradually confront your fears in a safe environment. Start small and gradually increase the difficulty. For example, if you are afraid of public speaking, start by speaking in front of a small group of friends or family. Build self-confidence. Focus on your strengths and accomplishments. Remember your past successes. Develop a positive attitude towards yourself. Practice meditation. Meditation helps us calm the mind and reduce anxiety. Regular meditation helps us develop resilience to stress and fear. 3. Dealing with envy. Envy is a feeling of annoyance and dislike towards someone else's success or possessions. In Buddhism, envy is seen as a manifestation of attachment and aversion. To transform envy, you need to awareness of your envy. When you feel envy, do not suppress it, but acknowledge its presence. Notice the thoughts and feelings that accompany envy. Understand the cause of envy. Ask yourself, what exactly are you envious of? Why is what the other person has so important to you? Envy is often associated with low self-esteem and dissatisfaction with your life. Rejoice in someone else's success. Instead of being envious, try to be genuinely happy for the other person. Remember that another person's success does not diminish your own opportunities. Focus on your strengths. Do not compare yourself to others. Focus on your own achievements and opportunities. Develop your talents and abilities. Practice gratitude. Take time every day to be grateful for what you have. Appreciate your relationships, your health, your opportunities. Real-life example. Imagine a person who is jealous of a co-worker who got a promotion. Instead of being angry and resentful, he becomes aware of his envy and tries to understand its cause. He realizes that he is envious not only of the promotion, but also of his colleagues' confidence and competence. He decides to focus on developing his own skills and asks his colleague to become his mentor. He also begins to practice gratitude by writing down 3 things he is grateful for every day. Over time, His envy gives way to admiration and a desire to learn from his colleague. This example shows how envy can be transformed into motivation for personal growth. Practical exercise: choose one negative emotion that you want to work on. For a week, use the methods described above to recognize, understand, and transform this emotion. Record your observations and results in a journal. Part 4. Developing compassion and love for yourself and others. Strengthening allies. Transforming negative emotions is an important step, but it is not the only one. To achieve sustainable emotional well-being, it is necessary to develop compassion and love for yourself and others. Compassion and love are powerful antidotes to negative emotions. Compassion, karuna. Compassion is the ability to feel the pain and suffering of others and the wish to alleviate it. In Buddhism, compassion is considered one of the 4 immeasurables, Brahma Viharas, along with loving-kindness, metta, joy, mudita, and equanimity, upeksha. Compassion is not just an emotion, it is an active desire to help other people. It manifests itself in our words, thoughts, and actions. How to develop compassion. Practice compassion meditation. During meditation, direct your good wishes to yourself, your loved ones, neutral people, difficult people, and all sentient beings. Repeat phrases such as, "May I be free from suffering," "May my loved ones be free from suffering," "May all sentient beings be free from suffering." Meet people who are suffering. Volunteer for charities. Help those in need. Listen to those who need support. Remember that all people suffer and need compassion. Develop empathy. Try to understand the other person's point of view, even if you don't agree with it. Put yourself in their shoes and try to feel what they are feeling. Practice loving kindness. Send your good wishes to others. Wish them happiness, health, well-being, and freedom from suffering. Self-love, metta. Self-love is accepting yourself as you are, with all your strengths and weaknesses. It is the ability to be kind, compassionate, and tolerant of yourself. Self-love is the foundation for healthy relationships with other people. How to develop self-love? Stop criticizing yourself. Be more gentle and tolerant of yourself. Don't judge yourself too harshly. Remember that everyone makes mistakes. Focus on your strengths. Remind yourself of your accomplishments and talents. Appreciate your positive qualities. Take care of yourself. Make time for your needs. Get enough sleep. Eat right. Exercise. Do things you enjoy. Forgive yourself. Let go of your past mistakes and don't blame yourself for them. Remember that the past cannot be changed, but you can learn from it. Practice self-loving kindness meditation. Direct your good wishes toward yourself. Repeat phrases such as, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I be safe," "May I be free from suffering." The effect of compassion and love on negative emotions. Compassion and love are powerful antidotes to negative emotions. When we develop compassion for ourselves and others, we become less selfish, less critical, and more tolerant. We begin to see the world from a different perspective, from the perspective of love and compassion. Compassion helps us overcome anger, jealousy, and hatred. Love helps us overcome fear, anxiety, and depression.
Real-life example. Imagine a woman who suffered from low self-esteem and depression for a long time. She constantly criticized herself and felt unworthy of love and happiness. One day, she began to practice self-loving kindness meditation. Every day, she directed her good wishes to herself by repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I be safe," "May I be free from suffering." Over time, her attitude towards herself began to change. She became more tolerant, kind, and compassionate towards herself. Her self-esteem increased, and she began to feel happier and more confident. This example shows how self-love can transform our lives and free us from negative emotions. Practical exercise. For a week, practice loving kindness and compassion meditation every day. Send your good wishes to yourself, to your loved ones, to neutral people, to difficult people, and to all sentient beings. Write down your own feelings and results in a journal. Part 5. Integrating Buddhist principles into everyday life, maintaining your fighting power. Releasing negative emotions is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. To achieve lasting emotional well-being, it is necessary to integrate Buddhist principles into your daily life. 1. Mindfulness in everyday activities. Bring mindfulness into everything you do. When you eat, when you talk to someone, when you work, when you rest. Focus on the present moment and notice your thoughts, feelings, and sensations in your body. 2. Meditation. Practice meditation regularly, at least 10 to 15 minutes a day. Meditation helps you calm the mind, develop concentration and awareness. 3. Study Buddhist philosophy. Read books and articles about Buddhism, attend lectures and seminars, and communicate with other people who practice Buddhism. The more you learn about Buddhist philosophy, the better you will understand yourself and the world around you. 4. Follow moral principles. Observe the 5 precepts of Buddhism. Do not kill, steal, lie, commit adultery, or use intoxicants. Following moral principles helps you live an honest and virtuous life. 5. Develop wisdom and compassion. Constantly strive to develop wisdom and compassion. Ask yourself questions about the meaning of life, the nature of reality, and the interconnectedness of all things. Help other people and show compassion to all living beings. 6. Acceptance of impermanence. Remember that everything in this world is impermanent. Everything changes, everything passes. Don't cling to what will inevitably disappear. Accept impermanence as a natural part of life. 7. Practice gratitude. Take time every day to be grateful for what you have. Appreciate your relationships, your health, your opportunities. Gratitude helps you see the good in life and reduces the impact of negative emotions. 8. Connect with like-minded people. Surround yourself with people who share your values and aspirations. Connect with people who support you and inspire you to grow. 9. Self-analysis. Regularly conduct self-analysis. Evaluate your actions and thoughts. Ask yourself questions about how you live, what you do, and what you can improve. 10. Don't give up. Releasing negative emotions is a long and difficult process. Don't give up, even if you have difficulties. Keep practicing and remember that every small step brings you closer to your goal. Real-life example. Imagine a person who started practicing Buddhism a few years ago. He started with meditation and gradually integrated Buddhist principles into his daily life. He became more mindful, more tolerant, more compassionate, and happier. He learned to cope with negative emotions and live a more harmonious and meaningful life. This example shows how Buddhist principles can change a person's life for the better. Practical exercise. Choose 1 or 2 Buddhist principles that you want to integrate into your daily life. Make an action plan and start practicing these principles every day. Record your observations and results in a journal. So, friends, we have come a long way in this video, learning how to free ourselves from negative emotions with the wisdom of Buddhism. We have learned about the nature of these emotions, the importance of mindfulness, the methods of transformation, and the power of compassion and love. Remember that liberation from negative emotions is not magic, but the result of conscious work on yourself. This is a lifelong journey, but it is worth it. After all, at the end of this path, you will find inner peace, harmony, and true happiness. I hope this video was useful and inspiring for you. Remember that you are not alone in your suffering. We all experience negative emotions, but we have the opportunity to change our lives for the better. Start practicing Buddhist principles today. Meditate, practice mindfulness, develop compassion and love, and you will see how your life begins to change for the better. If this video was useful for you, share it with your loved ones who also suffer from negative emotions. Together, we can make the world a little better and kinder. Thank you for your attention, and see you soon.